I'm Jonathan, a tour guide for RVA on Wheels, and we're here on the third Monday of January celebrating the life and accomplishments of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's a great opportunity to check out some of the places visited by Dr. King here in Richmond, Virginia. Behind me is Virginia Union, a historically black university here in Richmond, which played an important role in the civil rights movement both locally and nationally, and has important connections to Dr. King. Dr. King would have visited Virginia Union several times. First in 1953, while he was finishing his doctorate, he stayed at a Virginia Union dorm and befriended Wyatt T. Walker, a then Virginia Union student, later civil rights leader himself, and also he would become the chief of staff for Dr. King. On later visits, Dr. King would preach powerful sermons in the Belgian building here behind me and inspire local nonviolent resistance movements. In his final visit to Virginia Union in 1963, he would have hosted his 7th annual Southern Christian Leadership Conference here on the grounds of this university. In 1954, the Supreme Court deemed racial segregation of American schools illegal with the Supreme Court case Brown versus Board of Education. That didn't stop many politicians here in Virginia and across the South from continuing to attempt to segregate or altogether close many schools that had been intended for black students. The building behind me, originally known as the Mosque Theater, built in the 1920s, later known as the Landmark, and today the Altria Theater, was host to two events called the Pilgrimage of Prayer for Public Schools. And on January 1st, 1960, a second Pilgrimage of Prayer for Public Schools was held here at the mosque. Dr. King was in attendance for this event, giving a rousing speech calling for continued protest and prayer. The nearly 3,000 people in attendance marched from here at Laurel and Main Streets all the way to downtown and the Virginia State Capitol, where they stood on the steps of the Capitol and continued to protest in solidarity for equal education. Dr. King's visits to Richmond, Virginia Union, and those Pilgrimage of Prayer rallies were inspirational for later civil rights protests, including in February 1960, the events surrounding the Richmond 34 and the beginning of the Campaign for Human Dignity, which helped to bring an end to the segregation of restaurants, department stores, and public spaces here in Richmond and Virginia.